Like this. Let's see. All right. You got me. Well, this is good because see, this is what I like about this no pressure podcast situation. And we can, this is the stuff that we need to learn like now. Okay, so now be able to take this on the go. Did I just mute myself? I think I did.
For a second, but
There you
I
go. We're learning.
I heard.
Uh, sometimes we're gonna be able to take this on the go, which is funny actually. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. Um, we are on episode. This is about to be episode nine. Nine?
Nine.
Nine. Wow, we're almost halfway to 21. We're almost halfway to 21. And my assumption, if I pull out my crystal ball, is that at some point throughout the journey to 21 or around 21, we're gonna be like, okay, how do we level this thing up?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do we level this thing up? So do we let's brainstorm. Um, let's go. How would we level this thing up?
It's a good question. I mean, one production. I think there's two ways that are going to be the most impactful: production and marketing.
Yeah. I actually, yes, that's great. I actually don't think the content is to be leveled up at all. I actually think it's just the production and the marketing, mainly the production, mainly the production.
You think it's
Uh,
mainly production? I think it's mainly the marketing.
oh, you think mainly the marketing? Okay.
Well, considering, I mean, I know John, Steve, Ashley, those are big fans, but we don't have the biggest following as of yet. So,
No, not so much. Here and there, a couple of views, someone tuning in. Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, that's why. I mean, because I mean, the production, of course, isn't great, but is that why no one's watching? I'm not sure.
I'm not
So
sure. I'm not sure.
I have a
It's
feeling it's because
true.
no one really knows it exists.
Right. 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 Right.
What do you
Right.
think, though? You think it's more production?
Well, you open up an interesting point. Marketing is definitely important. I think from a production level, okay. Here's what just came up in my head. I think that maybe leveling up the production would give me more confidence to put more effort into the marketing in the first place.
Mm.
And okay, so then how would one level up the production? Mainly, like I would love, see, this is not, I'll speak for myself personally. Like I would love to be in a little bit more of a stable living situation where I could have like a room, where I could have like get a camera, maybe like a 4K, like one of those little, not like a webcam camera. That could be like, oh, it's like you're not in the middle of fucking nowhere today, which is fine. Like I think that's also what makes it cool. It's like, oh, where are you? But so, like it'd be nice to like have that home base, and then sure, if you need to take the call from freaking, I don't know, you're on your way to a different country. That's cool. So that from a camera perspective and an audio perspective, that's an audio. Just make it more clean. Just make it more clean. And that's, I guess, that's all I got for now in terms of production.
Yeah, production definitely has a lot of room for improvement. Marketing to me is so fascinating. That's something that I need to really dive deep in eventually, really unpack because it can be it can be the reason a company is successful. They have good marketing. And marketing and sales, I think of them as definitely working in tandem. Yeah, they're distinct operations, but I never really thought, I mean, without marketing, the company doesn't really exist. Like you got to market it in some
No,
way. Or
no,
or
no, no.
podcast doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And so much of marketing I think of as being me having to post on my social media, but I wonder about other marketing tactics. I wonder what other marketing tactics are that that don't require you to have to pay to get ads or like 'cause that's the other one. I could see myself just posting stuff, right, and marketing it myself
Yeah.
to the people I know. But if I didn't want to do that, then the only way I could try and make we could try and make videos viral, but again, we would probably be in those unless we got someone else to be in them in our behalf, or there was just no people in it and it was just kind of a voiceover or something or an animation. Uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, you know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
and then or you can run, yeah, it would be running ads on different sites, different places, and you could have the ads look like whatever you want if we wanted to be in them or if we didn't want to be in them. But I haven't really dove deep into all of the different channels of marketing, but it's seemingly more and more. I just have had situations pop up in life where I realize, wow, that's a really tall task, and I'm not even exactly sure how I would go about and like really tackle that. I think for a long time I discredited marketing. Oh,
Mm,
marketing isn't that's not the business. The business is whatever the business is, and marketing is just this not even ancillary, but it's just this supporting feature of the business that isn't really essential. It's not integral.
mm,
Now I realize it is absolutely integral to a business.
mm.
So that's why I feel like it would be interesting to go down that path to see how you would want to do it, especially with that, the opportunity that I got to try maybe head of marketing for a startup company.
Wait. Repeat what you just said.
Okay,
Wait, 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 wait. Actually, see what you just said. I
we
think I
won't
actually
go
see
into
something.
details. It's not, I mean, we can go into these. Honestly, I thought about this call now just being like a workshop call because
This call right now?
no, yeah, all of the podcasts that we do as because like the just the viewing base isn't really there, like we might as well try to get some workshopping out of this, or maybe we can have like a workshop series along with the regular podcast. Like one could just
Yeah.
be catching up, one could be workshopping on whatever we're thinking of. Because
Okay.
I think, two minds better than one trying to think through
Yeah.
problem. But yeah, so that site that I sent you, talked to
Yes.
the founder and the
Yes.
creator. And the reason why I talked to him is because he wanted someone to head the marketing. And
Oh.
he couldn't pay anything, but he was willing to give up, him and his partner are willing to give up 15% equity in it. And it would be for
Oh.
me to head the marketing division. And then, so yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
I
not the
didn't.
marketing division. It would, there's only two people. It would be the third person. The third person needs to focus on marketing. That's what.
Yeah.
So, and then I thought about just, we were just talking and I was just thinking on the spot and a little bit before. Well, I didn't know before that it was going to be for marketing. It was just, hey, do you want to hear about our startup? They have an LLC. They have the two people that own, I don't know what the equity split is. I'm guessing it's 50-50, but
Mhm.
one guy's kind of not in the picture anymore and it's just the developer. And the developer basically, yeah, told me that they're looking for another person to head marketing and to get the product bigger. They got 20 users right now a day.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's pretty solid. And he would only want me to do, said a few hours a week. So I'm not fully opposed to the idea of doing it
Nice.
by any means. But I also thought, it'd be kind of cool is if I take 7.5 and I bring on another dude. This guy's name is Utah. Guy's name is sorry. I have one. I'm well, no, not sorry. I am willing to to do this, and it's not even like I can for sure get it. I would have to talk to him again. He might not want me,
Yeah,
but I was gonna I was just kind of fantasizing if I say, yeah, I'll do it, but one stipulation, you have to
I
take
got it.
someone else, and they also get half of what I will
You got it.
split. You don't have to give out any more equity, but two people just tackling the problem would be fun with another person. Like tackling
Mm,
this is a fully finished product. Not, I mean, not full. I think we can make iterations and it could get better, more user friendly and things like that.
for
The
sure, for sure.
base could be a little bit nicer,
Yeah.
but all we would need to do is market it and just try to get users onto it somehow.
Sure. Mm. That's very interesting. Okay, a few thoughts on that. One, that's the thing about what we're doing here in terms of the No Downside podcast. That when eventually we actually have viewers, obviously that's like one of those things where it's like people would come to us and we would go to them. It's like, hey, we can talk about this on our platform, or this, we are the marketers, right? By having the podcast in terms of like when it comes to ads and stuff like that too, right? Like that is a perfect example of like a company that uh, could pay us for ads eventually in the future, for example, right? If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like
If yeah,
I mean, yeah, I think it makes sense. You so basically you're saying we could basically monetize the podcast by having ads on.
eventually, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, like normal standard podcast. Anyways, so that wasn't like a revolutionary statement, but uh, I just wanted to say that.
I know. I was kind of, you probably saw my face and you're like, do you follow? Are you?
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. I was like, all right, yeah.
It
Is he,
goes,
is he following? Are you following? You are following.
yeah, no, no, no.
Yeah, you're like, are you like, I'm. Is your reaction like, yeah, obviously, like that's obviously what we're doing here.
No, I think that would be great. Yeah, I think that would be phenomenal. I haven't even really thought that far out, but just because we're such in the infant stages.
Such an interesting thing. Um, what else am I thinking about? Number two, you said like the marketing, you know, will be number one over the production. Another reason to counter that for me is I think there are companies that exist that the product is so good that the product is so good that the market takes care of themselves. It exists. It might be unicorns. I'm not saying, but I think that's something to think about. That the better we make the production, the more this becomes in our heads. Like, yes, it's a phone call between them there at once. The more it's like, okay, this is a project, and we're building, right? This is like we're putting more time, more resources. I think to me personally, when I think of that like that, it's like, oh, okay, I'm like we're leveling up the production. Like, okay, let's spend more time. And then that comes, as we're obviously still in like stage one. But as we get to like stage two, like we start to build momentum in terms of like how much this becomes a craft in our lives, or the level amount of commitment that we actually want to put in this. Because at the end of the day, it will be right. Eventually, it's going to be an output. It's like, okay, OD, like how committed are we to this? You know. Um, and then obviously in terms of the marketing, which is really important, the take like we could sit down in terms of TikToks and say, okay, let's actually find out a consistent way that we both like in terms of style, format, that we can both replicate and continue to execute right on in terms of how we like to portray the TikTok. Right now we're practicing, we're like trying things, so that's perfectly fine. But eventually we'll get something on a consistent basis. I think that'll make sense. And then yeah, like YouTube Shorts, obviously we still haven't engaged. Apple Podcasts, we still haven't engaged. So yeah, I mean, it's cool because there's so much stuff that we don't have. So obviously, step by step, step by step. But the thing that you're talking about is very cool. It
Yeah,
is pretty cool.
I agree. If you have phenomenal marketing, but the product or service isn't great, it's not gonna It's not going to do much. You got to have both. You definitely have to have both. And yeah, because the same thing goes for the other way, the other scenario where you have great product, great service, but no one knows about it.
Mm,
You're not going to do much either. So
mm.
yeah, there's a lot of improvement. I guess what do you think like the first step would be for improving production?
Hmm. I think the first, I'll speak for myself. The first actionable step I actually think would be on the marketing side. Just when I think about like my current life situation, it's like, okay, maybe it's not necessarily stable now, but it's probably not going to be necessarily stable in the next couple of months either. So it's like, in terms of variables that are controllable from my end, it's like, okay, could dedicate more time to the marketing perspective, to the editing perspective, to going back to listening to the episode. Yeah, I think that there, like from a TikTok editing, YouTube Shorts, getting that up. Okay, you said one step. You said one step. I think we could. I think we could sit down and find a style of the TikTok that we like the most for the videos that are like the new episode is out for the weekly ones that we're doing. That's like the new episode is out. Um, like a style that we both know how to edit, we both know how to do, and we can also change, but it's similar. So then when you scroll down the page, right, it's like pretty uniformly created. Um, yeah. What do you think?
Okay, so you think if the first step is to figure out how we want to structure the TikToks?
Yeah, but I'm this is a brainstorming session. I'm not 100% confident. I don't have like
Yeah.
yeah,
I just wanted to, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think that could be good too. Also, the TikToks now, from what I've seen, there are no free TikToks where no free platforms where you could do the AI generated transcript.
I know.
So I tried to use the one you sent over and
Yeah.
I could, but I have two basically trials to use it and then it's done. And then the other one that I did first, which I forgot what that one was it CapCut or was that the one you sent?
CapCut was one that I sent.
And then
It
there
was
was
just
like
like
Capwing
yeah.
or something.
Yes, that.
Yeah, Capwing. I ran out of time already for that one. It said you've
Okay.
gone or you've exhausted your time limit. So, or you've gone over your time limit. So, have you seen on CapCut that you could do more than just two?
I think I saw
Hmm.
for some reason the number six is coming to mind that you could do six of them per month. But either way, I am down. I'm down to like invest like what we need to invest in. I have to do some research and say, okay, let's start editing stuff on this guy. And whether that's a monthly subscription or whatever that is. Um, I'm down to do that.
Yeah,
You
and
are.
that's something that we should probably talk about too. Like how much would we want to put into it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that the editing thing shouldn't be that big of an expense.
No, it
Obviously,
shouldn't be.
no. When we talk about leveling up production, then I think that's probably a different conversation. If you want to make a big ass microphone, which I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind investing.
Yeah, Chris Williams had said something interesting, which is he went to do podcasting as a profession. And so he wanted it to be absolutely pristine,
Mm,
absolutely impeccable. And that's what he focused on. He tried to make a perfect production, like really professional production for podcasting, because that's what he wanted to do as a living, as opposed to all of these other, usually, I mean, for the most part, I'd say a good chunk of podcasters are people that have other professions and they're podcasting on the side of like whether they're a full-time comedian, or they're an actor, or they are a business tycoon, and then they podcast. They don't need to. He's like, for them, it was a little bit different because they have their other profession. They don't really need to focus on this as much because there's already going to be people watching. He said, for me, I wasn't an expert. I mean, wasn't a professional. He did hospitality, I think. No, he did entertainment or
Entertainment.
clubbing or stuff. Yeah,
Pubs. Yeah.
clubs.
Pub stuff.
Yeah, that's right. So, and I saw you listen to that Alex Hormozy
Oh,
episode.
you saw that? Wait. How? Wait, how? I didn't.
In any event, it is
Wait.
interesting to see his
Pause.
mindset
Pause in the
versus
glass.
versus
Oh,
other people's mindset on
bring
podcasting.
your
We
bring your
would
back
probably
chair.
fall closer to Chris Williamson. I see you're doing this.
I am doing it. How do
It's
you
funny
know what
because
I'm listening to?
if I talk and I just start laughing out of nowhere, people don't see what you're doing, your gestures.
No.
So that
Yep.
they think I'm just like, or some of the times when I've I've lost my train of thought or in the earlier episodes, but like it's because I'm laughing at what you're doing on your side. But yeah, no, I'm kind of bouncing around your question, but it was just because you watched it on our channel. So I saw it was fully watched.
TikTok?
Huh?
Oh, I watched it on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's a good episode. It's a really long one. Oh, that's a good episode.
Yeah,
Anyways,
that was a great episode. Alex Hormozy
did
just
you watch it too?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, yeah,
Alex
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Hormozy made me want to make a shit ton of money. And I
Fuck
was
yeah.
surprised. I was surprised because that hasn't really been my mindset as of late. I've been kind of
Okay.
getting away from that mindset. And then he just was like, just got me riled up. Like, why not? Why not just have everything else that you want to do too, but then on top, just make a shit ton of money also. Like, it's not a bad thing. Just that, like, that's not the sole purpose, but if you have everything else, all your bases covered, and then you add that on top, I'm not complaining about that.
Yeah. Well, in this latest episode, he's actually switched up. He's a very like hardcore kind of guy. But in the last episode, the 4 hours in, he said he's recently switched up his philosophy that he was before like fuck happiness and anything to do with happiness. Like I just want to make a shit ton of money and be useful. And now he's like, oh, I think I can actually be useful and be happy at the same time. Like I think there's a formula for it. Finding that out. Again, though, it's actually quite difficult. And I think they talked about a little bit about this in terms of like taking advice from people that are successful. It's like you can't. That's because he's already rich as shit. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it's difficult for us to be like, oh yeah, like, let's just do what Alex Ramones, bro. Alex Ramones has spent hours in his basement just grinding with no sleep for like 15 years. Anywho, just
Yeah,
thanks.
but yeah, but he mentioned that too. And yeah, he's going to from not caring about happiness to caring about happiness. I would say I'm all the way over here though. And he's still where is it? Yeah, right there. I'm all the way over here and he's still all the way over here on that side of the spectrum. Like you remember the situation where he said, "Oh, there's a guy who told me, and this isn't verbatim, so don't quote me, but the premise is this." He said there was someone who accumulated, I don't know, $10 million of wealth, and they thought, "Okay, this is good," and then his mindset was like, "All right, well then they're out of the game. Like, I'm not worried about them anymore. Like, there's so much more to get. Like, that's crazy. They're stopping at 10." Like that's still his mindset. That's still currently his mindset. And then
It's so true.
he also talked about how heinous his working hours are still to this day because he just works like an animal. Um, so the mindset of I don't want to necessarily adopt that mindset of I need to make money or else I am not satisfied. But I do think if I'm working, and this is Mary's mindset, her mindset's like, I'm already working. Why would I not want to get paid more per hour for what I'm doing? Like, there's no downside, no pun intended this time, in getting more per hour. Like if you're working and you're working, call it 8 hours a day, and you got to choose between 50 grand versus 100 grand, like why not the 100 grand? Yeah, if it's the same work, like why not do what makes you compensated more because that allows more flexibility. Now, if it's, oh, I'm making 50 grand and it's something I absolutely adore versus I'm making 100 grand and it's something that I hate and I'm dreading my life, of course, right? Then you can make the 50 grand and you have a more fulfilling life. But at a certain point, and Mary, she did open my eyes to this a little bit. Like, do you absolutely love what you're doing, or do you still view it as this is work? And if it's just not something that if you're making less money and you don't love it way more than you would if you were doing something else and making more money, like why not? Like it would be just rational to make more money. I think humans typically think like that. It's the humans are typically rational when it comes to economic decisions. But I don't think all the time. And I don't think I was really thinking about that so much. I mean, like I switched basically I switched to FP&A more because I wanted to work for a company that I'm super passionate about.
Mhm.
And then now that I'm thinking about it, it's like yes, I ideally I do. That's why it's so good to just go do something, try something new. You'll think about new things. You'll realize what you actually want to do, or if it's that, or if it's something else. But
Yeah.
now I'm thinking, okay, yeah, FP&A is cool, and I like it. I like the career trajectory more than what I was on. But I wouldn't want to go, even if I went to go work at Aura, which is a sweet, sweet company. I still would want to make a good amount of, I would still want to make a good amount of money. I wouldn't want to go less than what I'm making right now at my current company. Like if I
Mm.
was making significantly less to work for a company I love, it's like I'm still doing FP&A. Yeah, it's the company I love, but it's not like the day to day would look much different. I think
Mm.
the passion would be there. I would be excited and proud of trying to grow this company. I think that's probably important. You want to feel excited to do what you do. But yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. I go back and forth a ton on because I do want to find the passion. I do want to have the passion. I do think if you're just chasing highest paycheck, that's not the best. I don't think that's very conducive to a longevity sort of or a sustainable career, sustainable life. Alex Hormozy is making me think maybe it is. Maybe you just fucking just get after it and it ends up working out fine. Or you can kind of push for longer than you think, and you can actually become very successful. And then once that mindset no longer can withstand itself, you go towards you then just switch to passion and focus on passion. But you've been so successful already that you have that, it's kind of like you've made it and you have the right to now do just focus on the passion. But it's really, I've said a lot. I'm curious your thoughts because we definitely both have been thinking about this, I'm sure.
100%. I mean, that's the dilemma of a lifetime. But like, I just even the spiritual teacher, like even the Buddha, right? Even the Buddha, he was a prince once. And he left from being a prince to being a monk, and that's how he became enlightened. Do you think the Buddha would have gotten enlightened if he wasn't a prince first? I don't know. But that's, I think, the same idea in terms of, do you need to get to the top in quotes to look up and be like, ah, yeah, okay, I understand now. Like, you need to get that cookie to be like, oh, okay, I didn't care about this anyway, which I think they talked a little bit about on the podcast, which I think is true. You need to just do stuff to, like, you need to know, you need to feel it. It's rich people tell you like money doesn't matter. It fucking means nothing. It means nothing because you need to feel it with your freaking, you just feel it. And you might know, like we know in the back of our heads, right? It does. Okay, so let's play it out. Let's say me and you're rich right now. Rich. We got $1 million OD. We're straight running the podcast. The podcast is still shit, right? We still got the same. We got $1 million right now. Maybe I don't know how we got it. Like from working our own jobs. We're starting out the podcast. Like, what do we not have right now that we could have with $1 million? Um, I got really nice headphones still. I got a phone. I got a laptop. And maybe my own apartment. Maybe I'd have a own little studio. Sure.
Crib.
Crib, maybe. House. Go
Yeah,
back home. There's a house.
full on
Hold on.
crib.
Fill on crib. Okay. How long is it gonna take me to get used to the fact to that crib? Not long. A couple months go by, I'd be like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's my crib. And I'd be like, what's next? I'd be like, I kind of want another house in a different country. Okay. Go buy a house in a different country. A couple months go by, I got a house in a different country. That's the new norm. That's the new standard. I mean, that's realistically what's gonna happen. In theory, it's just we're just talking. But like I still need to feel that. Like me talking about that is not gonna stop me from wanting to go get that because I think you need to feel that and experience that. But also same thing with me in terms of just quitting JP and literally like, very high status job, a high status job that you could one of those that you could possibly have in banking and finance to the lowest, it's actually one of the lowest status jobs you could possibly have. It's like, what's the difference? I still do this. I mean, I still go dancing when I want to go dancing. So eat out when I want to eat out. I still don't check my bank account. Maybe that's just me and that's a weird behavior. But I didn't check my bank account before. I don't check it now. What's the difference? I'm not sure exactly from
Do
a
you
personal
think
perspective.
flexibility, like, would you be more willing to go hop on a flight and visit someone or go,
Yeah,
for me, it would be go hop on a flight and go on a ski trip or something, get just more flexibility to do
yeah.
certain things that I would be interested in doing.
Travel. That's the only difference is travel. Like for me, money like the only reason that it's attractive is to travel and to experience stuff while traveling. Yeah. But in terms of cribs and stuff, I don't care. But traveling, that would be yes,
Yeah, and
that
then
is the
for me, it would be like the ultimate would be to where I only spend time on what I want to do.
mm,
That's like the ultimate, but that's really far out. I'm not thinking about that anytime soon. Or you can think about it and do that right now, and maybe you just don't make a lot of money doing what that is. But
exactly. So yes, because when I think about like my life, like that is like 85% my life. Like I do what I want to do I do what I want to do when I want to. 85%, not 100, but like pretty aligned, pretty aligned. And it's fantastic. And I found like a new level of, I don't want to say happiness, but a new level of connection with myself and life. But I think that that is probably not sustainable. I think because it is difficult to make that a stable environment because money, I think, would bring stability in that environment. You're like, oh, I can continue doing this lifestyle for actually forever. And when I think about it, I probably could actually. I probably could.
You could.
Um, yeah, I probably could.
Like
But
unless
maybe
unless you look at your bank account and you see that you're trending down and it's eventually going to hit zero.
zero. Right.
But you don't look at your bank account, so you never know.
You know, like, no, but okay. All right. So let's. Okay. So I love what the frames that Alex knows, but I love when he's like the and like to me that's so great. I was trying it out today. I was just thinking about random stuff. It's like okay, and it's like okay, your bank account goes to zero, and like okay, I'm gonna call Dara. I'd be like, oh, D, I have no money. Can I crash in your couch?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
Dara says no.
absolutely. That would be like
Oh,
I wouldn't even think twice. Be like, yeah,
yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's say Dara says no. Okay, I call another friend. Okay, I yeah, it's not. It's a bad example, but the point is, it's like it's like I'm not gonna die. You're not gonna die. And yeah, maybe it's embarrassing. Maybe you feel embarrassed. Sure. Maybe I feel embarrassed telling you like, oh, there, I don't have any more money. So I crash your couch. And like, so what? And so that I think is helpful for me a lot. And I'm gonna keep trying to hone in on that in my own head because it's like that feeling. Or he also I heard him talk about like how fear is like it feels really wide, but it's only like 1 inch deep when you really go through it. And so when you go through that practice, like and it's like I'm gonna lose my money. It's like and I'm gonna be embarrassed. It's like and it's like you step
mm,
forward. It's like oh, it's actually not as deep as I thought.
yeah.
This is not as bad as that. Oh, okay. Like I'm gonna live. So that's interesting.
I mean, yeah, that's interesting because it's like where he's devoting his entire life to try and make as much money as possible right now. I feel like you could say the same thing with that. Okay, you get it, and you get the $1 billion. You're at 100, you're at 200 million right now. You get to a billion, and are you what's the maybe he has some master plan. Oh, I'm gonna help the world and change the world with it. But he doesn't seem
And
to have well that that one seems a little bit more uh grand in and of itself, you know. I'm going to end world hunger. And
oh, but I love how he's like, so everyone's gonna forget about you when you die
yeah,
anyway.
no, I remember that. All right, hey, want to pick this up?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah.
oh, all right.
No.
Okay, so yeah, where were we? We were
Money, money, money,
deciding
money,
on money,
money.
money, money, man. In this stage of life, it's such a focus. Like it was for Alex. Alex was so focused on it. I mean, I think it's a big focus for the next 20 years. If my TQQQ can hit, then I could up.
So we're good.
Then I could just step back. I'll be the guy with the 12 million. And Alex is like, all right, yeah, you're out of the game
Uh,
then. Let's just yeah, I'll get out
next.
of the game, bro. I'll get out of the game for sure. No, but when you have that much money, it's easy to stay in the game. right?
Very easy. It is very easy to game the game. The game gets easier
Game
to
gets
play,
easier once you
depending
have
on
more.
the game gets easier once you have more, so it would make sense if the game is harder than you have less. And I think
Hey,
in terms of Alex, I think his idea is that, and he might have mentioned this, that to him winning the game is playing the game, and so he wins by playing. And so he actually, I don't think he's trying to get. Just he loves the game of business, and so the game of business equates to money. But if the game was business, didn't for whatever reason, it equated to getting chocolate chip cookies, and the more chocolate chip cookies you got, the better you win the game. I think he would play that game too. I don't know what I'm saying, but the point is yeah, communication.
communication. That's in your go-to. That's in your go. Um, but yeah, no, it is pity communication. That's what we're doing right now. It's capitalism. It's capitalism, man. It's the game of capitalism. And I do think for the country that you're in, if you're in a capitalist country, which we both are, it's important for people to play the game. I think that's essential because when you start opting out
Mm,
is when you start opting out, you start to look down towards the game and you want the game to change. And that's when all of the resistance starts towards the game, right? You start resisting the game, you start talking to people and expressing how you want to no longer play the game and how bad the game is. And I think that will slowly destroy the system. The game, the system is the game, right? So there is part of me, and I recently came to this conclusion, and it was when I realized because I hold equities, I feel part of the game inherently. Of course, I work too, but I feel as if I can benefit from the game. And I think that's so important because if you don't hold any equities or you don't own any real estate, you feel as if everyone is moving on without you and you're just on the outside. And
mm,
the past 15 years when asset prices have been increasing a ton and people have been gaining wealth, you're just kind of on the outskirts and you're not able to participate. And then your mindset shifts to fuck this. This is stupid. And I can't win. I can't be a part of this. And it's the rich versus me. And you start talking to another person who also doesn't have the asset prices, the benefit of having their asset prices increase. And that's how the coup starts, right? That's how the hatred and animosity starts to build up and then eventually becomes expressed. So that's why I think it's so important. That's why I liked the on Fortune. I wonder which ones of my followers saw me like the Trump video of him basically expressing expressing his approval for this new initiative that's going on, as well as talking about the release or the how the initiative is going to actually be unfolded. And it's funny because even just liking that, I mean, I'm liking something. Trump is saying something that to me is inherently good. It doesn't matter if it's Trump saying it or if it's the person who created it. which was actually Brad Gerstner, who's an investor who I listen to frequently. He was the one who went to the administration with it. But now the administration, Trump is talking about it. And it does to me, it doesn't matter who's talking about it, right? It's the initiative in and of itself that I am supportive of. But even just liking that, I was like, oh shit. I'm liking the video of Trump talking. I could see someone thinking, oh, I'm a Trump supporter because of that. But I'm a
Mm,
moderate. That's
mm,
what moderates do. Moderates aren't really as concerned about, don't have as much hatred toward the opposing party or the opposing person, right? I probably don't have as much hatred towards Trump. Like someone who's extreme radical couldn't like anything that Trump, even if it's something that's good, I'm not gonna like it because it's Trump talking. But for me, I don't have as much hatred, and I really like the initiative because what the initiative is, it's Invest in America. It gives everyone from 2000 who's born in January 1st, 2025 to born in through December 31st, 2028, $1,000 in an account, a tax deferred account, investing in the broad market indices. And family members can invest more yearly. But that just, to me, I'm thinking, wow, all of those kids are going to be rooting for the stock market, rooting for innovation, rooting for the growth of the US economy. And that's good for, I like to think that's good for society as opposed to being anti stock market, anti the system, because it's the system we're in. I mean, you want to change it completely? That I'm not sure. I don't have as much. I don't have as much knowledge on what system's the best, but I know what system we're in, and I kind of want to. I have the mindset of let's try to make it as best as possible since these are the cards we have right now. Some people probably are in the camp of, well, let's completely change the system. I'm not in that camp. I'm kind of like, we're here. Let's see what the best way we can have prosperity for as many people as possible. So interesting to hear your thoughts on that.
I,
I mean, there's
yeah,
a lot
no,
there.
you've said a lot right there.
I
You've
was
said a lot.
rambling. I was
It's very
rambling.
interesting. I completely. That was a fantastic. That was a 10 out of 10 ramble. You said a lot, and I completely agree with what you just said there, especially the second part. All of it, frankly, but especially the second part. Um, in terms of like, this is the game. This is the game. How it is. You can either play the game, flow with the game, not resist the game, or there's other societies out there that are not playing the same game. So you could go to another society. Frankly, this is a broad statement, right? Like, yeah, there's going to be steps in terms of how you get there. So, like, if you wanted to bad enough, you could find a way to find a society where that game is being played to be more aligned with your beliefs. And that's completely fair. Um, I've just thought about that. But yeah, that's interesting. I think the world does offer different games to play. And I think what most people end up doing is instead of just playing one of the games, it's like they fight and approve one of them. Now, one could argue that someone needs to fight and oppose the game. There needs to be people that fight and oppose the game because the game can be changed, the game can be improved, the game can be better. And so you need the devil advocates, you need the opposers to be like to point things out. They're like, I feel right, maybe we can make some changes to the game. And then maybe those two parties can work together. Obviously, what ends up happening is those two parties don't on the board together and they go to war instead. But I think everyone is entitled to either play the game, oppose the game, or go find the game that they want to play. But I think, especially at our age, I'll speak for myself, you can create a lot of suffering for yourself by trying to by knowing that you want to play the game, but you're not really sure why you want to play the game, and you're not really sure if it's worth playing the game, but you're half playing the game, but you're also kind of on the way out and wanting to play that game, a different game, or a different country. It's like broski, you're kind of spreading yourself a little wide here, rather. It's kind of creating a little suffering for yourself, which is okay, I think. It's actually, I think it's okay to be encouraged, especially at our age, because if you can figure out what game you want to play at our age, then you start your 30s, you have big time span to go ahead and you play that game. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I think you articulated that well, which is resisting the game might do more harm than good. But at the same time, the game isn't perfect and it can be changed. So there needs to be, for the things that need to be changed, there needs to be people focusing on them so that they can get changed. I guess it's just maybe understand what can be changed about it and what can't be changed about it and try and focus. Don't waste your time focusing on what can't be changed. But yeah, understanding what you want to, how you want to participate. Also, you don't need to win. You don't need to so nuanced because there's not one person who wins the game.
more
It's
than you
just
get.
everyone's playing and you have wins along the way. Wins and
Yeah,
losses along the way.
because that was a different level, a different level, a different level. No
And
one,
many,
and
many games within the game.
many games, many games, so many games that we don't even know they're being played. Like I've heard Kevin Hart say, uh, it's like as you started getting more rich, more and more and more rich. He like kept on opening doors and be like, "Hey, yo, I didn't know you guys were playing this game back here. What's going on? I didn't even know this game existed." And then he opened the door and then spent a couple of years at playing that game. And then he opened up another one, and it's like, "Yo, there's another game." And so there's just more and more and more and more and more games. But Kevin Hart, this is funny as hell. That show is funny. Um, yeah, it's the truth, I think. I think it is the truth.
Yeah.
So
What's your thought? What are your thoughts on the game? And how
I
much do you want to play? How hard do you want to play? What game do you want to play?
yeah, I I definitely want to play. I am playing. I am playing, and I want to play. I am playing, and I want to play. Um, I think how I get there is going to be non-traditional. I think what playing the game looks like for me is probably not traditional. And sometimes it's hard for me to express because I am of the idea that you can find meaning in so many different ways to help you win the game without actually doing the activity that someone would look at and be like, "Oh, you're not even playing the game." It's like, "I'm playing the game." It might not look like I'm playing the game, but trust me, I'm playing the game. So I think you can create your own world in that sense, which I think is pretty cool. Um, I think for me, when you play the game that non-traditional way, I think the difficult part is that distractions do come up, and it's up to you to be like, does this fit in the game? Does this fit in the game that I'm trying to play? And because in a lot of ways it's not that it's undefined, but it's so nuanced and non-linear and like it's not a circle, it's like a blob with like rough edges, so you don't really know where the game starts and the game kind of ends in your own world. sometimes it's quite difficult to find direction in that game. But I'm certainly playing it. And at the end of the day, like it's again, we kind of talked about it. It's like I know I'm going to win in the game. I know I'm going to win, in quotes. It's just how do I want to get there? How do I want to play it? Is what I'm figuring out. And you don't really know if you're playing the game right as you're playing the game, I think. You need a couple of wins on your belt to be like, oh, bet I'm kind of on the right path. But yeah, I think in general, like I'd love to be an entrepreneur of some sort. I think I think that is the path that I'll end up taking eventually. The path that path will come in and find me. I'd be like, okay, I have no option like this. What's fun right
What do you think
now?
about doing marketing owning 7.5% of that company?
I mean, I'm gonna take another look at it. I'm gonna take another look at it because that is like I'm actually quite familiar with the competitors in that space. TradingView, Deep View, Thinkorswim, all these platforms that like do something similar in terms of charting and analysis. I'm actually quite familiar because those companies I'm looking at who's the best, who's most helpful for me. Um, so I'm curious. I am curious about that whole thing. So I'll take another look. I don't know what the marketing. I mean, I don't right. I don't know anything about marketing, but I like to think if we'd be passionate enough about what's going on, then I think it would come.
I like to think we do good on that, and we have okay, of course, if we're part owners, great, and it blows up, great. But if we scale it from 20 users to 1,000 users a day, we're on the track to be able to have a marketing consulting firm, right? We came in, these guys, these guys don't know how to market. They bring us in and they brought their thing from 20 users to now they have 1 million users a year. Like
Mm.
that is pretty powerful. Yeah. So when you think about the game, I just thought, is the game money, making money? That's the game, making money. Because I'm starting to feel like that's the game. Money is the game. And then like
I'm
all
trying
of
to
the other
dance.
things in life, all of the other basically everything out of making money is that's life. Like there are not that's life, but that's everything else. You got a game of making money, and then you got your life of. I mean, I don't want to. It's hard to distinct. It's hard to separate the two. I haven't thought about this much clearly, but to me, it kind of seems like the game is making money, and however you want to try to make money is however you want to try to play that game.
I can tell that that is the game because I'm trying to find an excuse for that last little game. And so, yeah,
Fuck, I'm
that's
not on mute. Sorry about that.
no, you're good.
Okay.
I didn't hear. I didn't hear anything.
Okay.
What are you doing back
Oh
there?
shit, did you hear
Um,
that? Oh shit.
so like,
Yeah, that's what I was kind of like a little bit upset thinking that like, ah shit, that is the game, huh? Making money. It's just
bro.
it's just like a lame, it's like almost a little lame. But it's such a big game, but it's almost like it's so simplistic and lame. But that seems to be what we're talking about. We're talking about it and we're sort of not beating around the bush, but we're using a lot of analogies and speaking about it in a way that I mean, it's almost taboo to say that. Yes, the game we're all playing is trying to make money. That's what capitalism is. You try to make money because it enables you to do all of the other things in life. which is it enables you to live your life, but you can't live your life in a capitalist society if you don't have any fucking money, right?
Mm,
Like if you have the $0, like someone either you're coming on my couch and I'm supporting you, you're going back to your parents and they're supporting you. Like someone with the money is going to have to support you in some way, or you end up on the street. Like it's money is the game. Money is the game.
God
It's so
damn it.
simple. Almost maybe that is helpful though. Like, oh, okay, that's a little game I'll have to play. And if you
Let's
ever
make
give
it fun.
yourself yeah, let's play the game as much as we want, until we feel like we have enough money, and then if we start going down, we need some more money. Oh, let's start playing the game again. You know what I mean? Like it's just yeah, I gotta just play when I want the money, and I can always if I don't want that, it kind of makes it like okay, if I don't want the money anymore. I don't have to play the game. Like, I don't have to play the game always. I can play the game. You have to play the game enough to have enough money to do what you want. But you can play the game if you start to feel overwhelmed. Hopefully you were a little bit savvy enough to save something so that
Mm,
you don't have to play the game the same way, or you can change the way you're playing the game, or you can stop playing the game for a little bit. And then you're like, okay, looking at my bank account, time to start playing the game again. Gotta gotta get back in. But it's almost like it's not just it's not everything. It is just the game. And yes, you have to play it to some extent, not always, not 100% of the time, but it is not everything. I think some people think of it as like once you can't articulate what the game is, and you just think
mm,
it's just life, this is just hectic and chaotic. No, there are many different pieces of life. What you're worried about is money, and that's just the game that we have to play. The
mhm,
life,
mhm, mhm.
your friends, your family, like the things you love. That's not necessarily the game. And even the thing is like, yes, you want to do your passion. Yes, you want to do something you love, and then win it, or and then also play the game. Like it'd be nice. Oh, I'm just doing what I love, and I'm actually playing the game at the same time, which is kind of cool.
Mhm.
That's cool, but let's not act like the game doesn't exist. You have to play the game. 'Cause that's why I
Yeah.
think sometimes I got in the mindset of, work shouldn't feel like work. It should feel like what you love. That's avoiding the fact that there is the game that you need to play. Like whether it's you're doing it and you're loving it, or you're doing it and you're dreading it, like the game still needs to be played. And you can just
Mm,
act like it doesn't exist by saying, "Oh, just work shouldn't feel like work," right? But to me, that's almost trying to act as if it doesn't exist when we
mm,
just talked it through. It exists and it's money. That's the game.
mm.
And yeah, you can try and you can articulate it however you want. But I think that is helpful. I think it is a breakthrough. This might be a breakthrough moment for me personally. Maybe not for
I
you.
love that. 'Cause I'm fighting it right now. My head is like, nah, fuck, he's sucking shit.
Fuck
I'm
that.
fighting it.
Fuck
Fuck that shit.
that.
Nah, he's sucking out of his ass. Right now. I'm fighting it. I'm fighting the
But do you
truth.
think the game is something else?
Well, I just think, again, like we're talking about, there's multiple games. Multiple games. Um,
Or is it one game and you can play it many different ways?
certainly, you can certainly play the game many different ways.
But the game is the money making, and you
But
can try and
why? Why? But so the game is the money making because
yeah,
why?
push back
Because
on me because just
I'm
because
gonna
I'm
push back.
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's not
I'm
like
gonna
this is
push back.
right. This
I'm gonna push back. I'm gonna push
I
back.
have the tendency, I have a propensity to have a thought, and then I just think that's factual, but it's not always the case. Oftentimes it's
Let's
not.
see. Let's see. Let's see. This might end up being with. I'm either gonna agree with you or not agree with you. I don't know yet. Let's see. Let's think. So. The game of money proper represents why we like it so much. Why humans like it so much. It's because it probably represents a result that we can see visually in terms of a number for the progression of something, right? It's like, okay, if life is like this on an upward slope, upward hill, it's like you're moving up and to the right, you are moving forward, you are climbing a mountain that is life. There's going to be challenges along the way. You're going to evolve. Humanity has evolved. We're going up to the right. That's progression. Sometimes it's how does one measure progression other than money? Because you can't really measure happiness. You can't really put them together like, oh, how happy are you, bro? Like you can't really measure that, but money you can measure. What else can you measure that would be aligned to what we as humans do, which is evolve and improve and get better? That's just what we do. That's what we're here to do. So money is the only tangent, whatever that word is, that would make it so that is a result and a data point. Money is the data point for the upward mountain that we're climbing as we live our lives. And we love the money as a game because that's the only way to track the upward slope. Is there
Yeah,
another way? And is there another unit of measure that we can gamify to represent the progression of that in humanity?
well, so I'm thinking about, I have a couple thoughts. So when you think about progression, I think about when we talked about books and we can see sort of the books that we've read. We've seen, oh, I have I have the bookshelf here. I've read all those. I see the prog, and that's just a measurement of how many books I've read. But then you
Mm-hmm.
can go to, I think what's more of a proof of progress is for reading, you can start in conversations articulating things that you haven't been able to articulate, and you can essentially say it's because you can tell it's because of the reading. For example, I might use words in conversations. I know that's from the reading that I've done. I know
Yeah.
that I haven't used those words before, and I wouldn't unless I was reading. So that's progress. I can see, oh, I'm progressing. I think a more impactful, more powerful one is certain interactions. Wow, I have this interaction with you. I noticed that I navigated it well, and I realized only reason I navigated that well is because I didn't navigate a similar situation well in the past, and now I've learned from that, and I know, okay, or Isak looks angry, and I'm a little upset too. So the last big fight that I had was when I just let my anger sort of take charge and lead me into a bad path. But now I notice that, in this situation, I've learned from that. Now I'm going to be different. I'm going to take some things from that previous situation, apply them now, and navigate this better. And that's something I think that the example wasn't the best, but I think it just is a testament to your experiences can help you navigate, and you can see the progression just in how you navigate things in life. But in terms of a unit of measurement,
Mm. To compare to other people, because I think what you're talking about makes sense for you to compare that to yourself. But I think what I'm thinking through right now is like the human aspect of competition, our egos, make it so that maybe we need one unit standard of measurement for me to compare myself to all the other competitors here. And that, right, it wouldn't be able to be measured through the improvement of our words or what we're using because we are using different scales. And this unit of measure of money is a worldwide scale. that everyone can use to compete against each other and evolve. And that's the one.
I think that was eloquently said. It is that. It is just that. It is just that. It is a unit of measurement that signifies the value you've added to life, the
Mm,
value you've added to society. It's a unit of measurement to signify the value you have added to society. Now, everyone knows it's imperfect. I think everyone knows there's some people that are adding a ton of value, but they're not really playing the game too. They're just adding a ton of value. But this is interesting because it's imperfect. We all know it's imperfect, but we still want it because it allows us to do the things that we want to do. It's required to live a life that I think a lot of people want to live. It's required to live in a capitalistic world. Money is required because you have to trade that for certain things. But the premise of it is, yes, this is supposed to capture how much value you have created, or your family, whatever, or if it was gifted to you. Someone else has created and they get money based on the value. Yes, it's imperfect,
mm,
but we're basing our society on this tangible thing, and this is will help you. And if you accumulate this stuff, you can do, you can buy things with it, and you can do things with it, and you can live your life with it. But yeah, I think you're spot on with that. Does that change that it's a game? Maybe a little bit. Maybe it's a different way of thinking about it. To me, I still think it's a game because you can be it's maybe not I mean, technically a game is an analogy for it. It's a system, right? It's a system that we've created that tries to benefit you for value you've created to society,
mm,
and as a result, allow you to use those funds to do whatever you want to do with them. But it's supposed to symbolize the value you've added to society. I think that's what it's supposed to do.
mm,
We know it's not perfect, and there's nothing that's perfect to do that. But you can either try and get try and get that symbol and try your hardest to get that symbol, or you cannot try that hard to get the symbol and just get enough to survive. And I think that part is the game of it. But yes, money in and of itself, to your point, is that symbol of value that you've created.
um,
Heavy.
I'm sure I do.
I think it's important for me and us and everyone to know,
Be aware.
be aware of this, be aware that it is imperfect. It doesn't capture the value you've created.
No.
It does not at all capture, okay, it does to an extent, and it can. And there are some people who have a lot of money who have created a ton of value, and they have the money because they have created a ton of value. But there are some people that have a lot of money. Some people inherited a lot of money. Some people were, they won a lottery, right? And they
Mm,
didn't create a ton of value. So I think it's important if you don't have a lot of money to understand that it's not a representation of the value that you've provided to the world. It's a very imperfect representation, and you could still have provided immense value to the people, to society, without having money to prove it. Now, if you want to play the game and get that money, that's a whole nother discussion. Well, it's tangential, but it's a different discussion. Is it so? What do you think? Is the money gathering the the gathering of money? Is that the game that so many people talk about?
Is that the game, or is the game the awareness that there is a game? Because no, because
People are
no,
gonna be like,
because
these guys are so
uh,
faded. We are
you guys are
completely
baked.
sober, guys. We
Very
are
sorry.
completely sober. As sober as it gets. I mean, he's got a little caffeine maybe in his system. I don't even have caffeine. All I've had is nuts, banana, and water today.
Decaf. We're on the same
And
page.
decaf.
Um, Damn, this is what I think it would be cool to like be in an environment where I'm closer to you, so we could have these types of conversation all day. Also, what I wanted to mention, this is I'm sidetracking. When we're talking about play the game, and I mentioned briefly like, okay, what happens if you run out of money? That's where the sense of community kind of can come in, because if me and you we decided that we wanted to play the game together and we ran out of money together, like I'm not gonna think that'd be fun, but that'd be fucking fun. That could be fun. We could make that fun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's like okay. Like so what? So like we're not we're gonna die. Like you know. So anyways, I think the game can be fun, especially if it's shared with someone. Um,
Yeah. Playing the game with people is way more fun than by yourself, I think.
Playing a game with people can be more fun. You play the game with yourself when you've defined the game, when you have similar definitions of the world.
And
Similar
I
definitions of the
think
world.
this is it now also. There are some people that just focus on the value and hope that money will come because that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to follow the value. And there's some people that focus just on the game, just accumulating wealth. And then there's a spectrum in between, right? Um, and I think a lot of people are trying to figure out where should I focus? Should I just focus on value or should I just focus on the game more, lean more towards the game? I mean, to start, you and I both focused on playing the game as opposed to just trying to
Right,
value.
right. Exactly. Does yeah? Do you exactly? Then that is where the games under the games come in. It's like okay, do you want to go focus on value, meaning bringing value to yourself, the connection to your craft, and then the value of the unit of measure, external unit of measure, then comes to follow you, or do you want to go after the external unit of measure, and then from that external unit of measure, then create the value? Um, yeah,
To be
I think
continued.
yeah. So we both tried it.